order your art. Don't wait for the art to happen. Like you show up and you're ordering that. Just like you're so quick to put an order in for your food, that's how you got to order your art. You know, it needs to show up today. It's not going to be like, don't get caught up in the, oh, I'm not ready to be in this moment yet. No, you got to order it. You know, the food wasn't ready till you ordered it. So order your art.
Hello, El Paso. This is Abe Bueno Jallad, and we are here today to talk about acting, his own successes, and just living and being raised in El Paso, Texas. Hello.
Hello, El Paso. What's up, Jasmine?
Hi. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being willing to give us your time.
It's a good day to be alive. I'm doing great. Just came off of a lot of excitement for The Chosen. We just finished our press tour in Mexico City. It was awesome. Been traveling a lot, but it's good to be home for a little bit. And we're just, I'm happy to be here, man. I always love being home.
No, we're really excited to have you here. Honestly, what we were talking about previously is you're all over the place. You're running from Albuquerque, Los Angeles. Can you give us a little insight of what it was like to be a young adult in El Paso and how you became confident enough to travel? Just go?
I think that it's always hard to leave the nest, you know, because like immediately it's going to challenge you with like, where do I go? Where do I sleep? You know, all of these things, which honestly, if you think about it in a different light, you're doing the same thing when you travel for vacation. But for some reason, you don't have that thought of like the worry thought, like the ooh, right? So like for me, I know that I love freedom and vacations. So I didn't do this consciously, but sometimes you find yourself with like the same excitement, you know, like, it's just kind of like traveling, but I'm not going to go home for a while, right? And so I think for me, there's definitely something about myself that...
You're a free spirit.
Yeah, freedom. Freedom is like one of the biggest things, you know, and it could be freedom from anything. Freedom from debt, freedom from having to stay in one place for too long. I love mobility, you know, and so for me, leaving El Paso was exciting. It was scary, but... Like I said, I'd already knew that I loved to travel. So I was like, well, it's like traveling, but different, you know, like, so yeah.
No, because you're traveling all over the place. At first, though, you were a student at UTEP, right?
Yes, I was.
You bleed orange.
Go Miners.
With that being said, how was that? How was that experience? You're studying linguistics. You moved to Albuquerque.
I did.
And then you had a full-blown job and then said, you know, we're going to act. We're going to do this.
Yeah. Dude, my time at UTEP was incredible. I love UTEP. I loved my experience there. There's just so many people from my past that I want to be like, oh, you know, some of them are no longer here. Like there was an advisor named Jackie Spradley, and he was so real with me, like brutally real, you know. And at that time, I still had the acting ambition, but I don't think I was like. I wasn't sold or I wasn't trying to sell it because I had a degree in linguistics. And so it was like this thing where I was like, it was in the back of my mind all the time. And I was still taking classes. I was still trying to do as much acting as I could. But I knew that I wanted a different path. And like I said, Jackie Spradley and a woman who just retired from UTEP, amazing woman. Her name's Yvonne Carranza. She lives in New Mexico now. Shout out, Yvonne. Hey, I appreciate you so much. She eventually became my boss. And she was so tough on me, but not in a way that like demeaned me, in a way that built me up. You know, so she never let me get away with anything. And I'm so grateful for her, for sure. So my time at UTEP was, and I call it coincidence because like some of these people, I was lost on my first few weeks there.
Like most many UTEP students.
Right. And so I walk into I knock on somebody's door and and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, this is an advisor. This is exactly who I should be talking to if I'm lost.
Exactly.
So, mentorship is great. You know, I don't think that mentors are not everybody's like, oh, I want to be a mentor, right? Like we
Right.
have a job, but I think like some really quick advice if you're at UTEP or any university, really, find people that can mentor you and ask them outright, hey, could you kind of like mentor me? And if they're like, no, be like, all right, just for like 2 weeks, you know, like
Just a little bit of your time. No, I think that's a really important thing to say is all the UTEP students and young adults watching this are looking at you for slight mentorship right now. I'm really
Yeah.
hoping people can honestly take the advice you give because you speak so profoundly when it comes to being a creative. Like when you went to Albuquerque and you had your full-time job, what made you transition from the mindset of, okay, I'm a person, but now I want to really fall into being a creative person.
Man, that's always a hard transition, and I think those are the hardest moments of anything. And I'm not just talking about like full-time job to becoming a creative.
100%.
It's like it's even from high school to college, from college to real life, because there's just like the gaps, you know. So yeah, I think that's just kind of one of my general rules that any sort of change or transition it's going to be tough. Like you're gonna be swimming in the dark for a little while until you kind of get your footing. But yeah, it's scary. I mean, I don't want, but I also like you can't stay in that scared place if you really want to do something about it.
Right.
You kind of have to bite the bullet and be like, all right. And most of the times, the question is like, what am I going to have to give up?
Right.
It's not really what am I going to gain. That comes much later. You know,
you gave up a 4-bedroom home. No,
I did.
and
I
you moved-
still miss that home, man.
Okay.
God, I would have bought it if I knew better.
Yeah, but you moved to LA and now it's like a super small apartment, or you did during a period of time.
Yeah.
And how was that? Because most people don't have that grit and mindset. Just go in. You know,
I mean,
that takes character.
it took some lessons that I had learned in Albuquerque for me to build up even that confidence to jump from New Mexico to California.
Okay.
You know, because when I got to New Mexico, I mean, yeah, the 4-bedroom house. Once again, that's like the end of the journey. Before that, it was like a room and you know, like a mattress that I had borrowed from somebody, and that's okay because like when you're in your 20s, you can handle that. You really
we
can,
can.
and you can still handle it in your 30s. But it hurts. It hurts your ego and it hurts your back. So,
100%.
but yeah, I'd say there was a part where I was like, okay, well, I doubled down. I took the risk, and I got to be honest. I wasn't the sort of person that was like, it's all gonna work out.
Yes.
You know, like I wasn't that overly positive thinker. I definitely had. I mean, as you can see, scars on my face. I had done things. I had taken chances, and then the chances like fell on my face, literally.
Oh.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So
Like many.
yeah. So I was like, okay, well, what's the worst that could happen? Going to Albuquerque, the worst that can happen is I flunk out and I head back to El Paso and I start over again. And I actually learned that from this older gentleman, this older actor that I had worked with. He had just come. We were working on a show together. He was from Virginia. He was just passing through, and he said, like, even if this whole and he's he's like in his late 30s at this point, and I'm in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And he's like, even if this doesn't work out, I'm just like gonna dust it off and start over again. I'm gonna go find a survival job, dust it off, and just get going again. And that was really interesting to hear from somebody who in my 20-year-old mind was like, well, I don't know him. He must not be a great actor. It turned out he was an amazing actor. He just didn't have the accolades. He didn't have the press. He didn't have all of this machinery behind him, right? So that's another lesson. You don't have to be the genius Picasso to make it in this business. That's just not, that's not a requisite. It helps a lot, but it's a whole team, man. It usually takes a whole team.
No, I think that's incredible that you said that it sounds like you're a sponge and you're taking all the advice from everyone else. But teamwork is huge when it comes to just overall success personally and in your own career. Like, how do you how do you feel like the support from like the city? Like, how do you feel when the city magazine's putting you on the cover? When like everyone's geeking out, I'm geeking out. Like, thank you so much for.
Oh man,
how do you feel?
I feel great.
Awesome.
It's a dream come true, to be honest. You know, I think Bad Bunny has this lyric well, no, he's talking to one of his like, "A ti ni te conocen en tu barrio," and I was like, that was important. Like, if you're not known in your hometown, if you're not famous in your hometown, for me, it's more important that people from my hometown recognize me than. And then I'm not ragging on any of my fans. You guys are amazing. I have people from Brazil, Spain, all over the world now. But I think I really wanted to say, hey, I'm from El Paso. You know, I think it's a very unique place. I definitely had a culture shock leaving El Paso.
Yeah.
The amount of Spanish that's spoken here versus any other place in the world. In the United States, sorry, not in the world. But it's you miss it, you know. The food, oh my God,
So
the
good.
food is so good
We
here.
love it. Yeah. I'd say just rattle off all your restaurants, but we can't get into all
No,
that.
we can't get into
Not
all
yet.
that. So
need
yeah, just I'm happy that I've reached this moment, and you know, like the City magazine, these were all people just like me who left. You know, who are looking for that greater vision. And then I kind of have a lot of respect for anybody, you know, speaking to local creatives. I don't care what age you are. If you're here and you're in the pursuit of anything creative, I just have all the respect for you. My wife and I, we were born here, El Paso Juarez connection, you know. We left, we're here. Sort of, you know, we kind of live a very nomadic life right now.
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of like, that's it. You know, I'm happy, and it feels like a big hug to be celebrated by El Paso, and I rep you guys wherever I go.
No, we appreciate that because I've seen the media and you're always like claiming El Paso, being very proud.
Yeah.
You're supported by the city, and it definitely seems like you're supported by your family.
Yeah.
You have such creative people in your life. Can you talk about the support and what it's like to travel with them and be so busy but grounded?
Well, I mean, like there's levels to family, right? Like there's your immediate family, and I think that before you get married or you start a family of your own, that family probably consists of, if you're lucky and you and your siblings are doing the same thing, then good for you. Like,
Yes,
but for the most part, it tends to be the family that you chose along the way. So you know, that group of friends that I made, that I still consider them part of like the vital group, so to speak. Yeah, because like if I need help, or you know, I need a place to crash, or I'm in you know, this city for 24 hours. I get on the line like, do you guys know anybody, right? Yeah. And those are the sort of connections that are important. You'd be surprised how many people I have housed, you know, like just strangers, like, hey, you're passing through, I get it.
Swing on by.
Right? Yeah. So that's important. But like once you create your family unit, that takes a whole new level of importance. And I don't know if I can speak on it because I'm living it right now, you know? So like, I don't want to like get too ahead of myself. It's difficult, but you need to have a down ass partner. Can I say that? Can I say ass? That's okay.
I think so. If you're talking about your wife being supportive, we love it.
Yeah, down ass. So
awesome.
yeah, we just we have each other's back, and that's not always easy. And like sometimes you need to check in with each other and talk about what are the ways that I'm being stretched too thin, or what do I need in this moment. Those are not always easy conversations to hear. You know, I think the first reaction is to take it personal. I'm not providing, but once you get over that hill, like then you can just begin to listen and be like, okay, what's the next thing that I have to do?
Well, you're in an industry that will stretch you. It's like
100%.
they're trying to get every ounce of your talent, which is appreciated, but it can be exhausting. So it is really cool to see how passionate you are towards your family and then to the city, because support is everything. Support is needed.
Yeah, support is needed. And like I said, it's even my wife has her immediate family that supports her, but also that family that we chose that 100% has supported us. the Adir, who my wife works for. I can't tell you how many times I've crashed at his place, just like that. That's so much help sometimes when you haven't slept in your bed in 6 months.
Well, you're having each other's back, and I think as a creative, it feels like a community, right? Once you feel like, okay, honestly, I'm going to jump into who I am, and then you realize all these people are willing to help you.
Yeah.
It takes character, but it takes people acknowledging what you do, holds a lot of value.
Yep.
So how
Yeah.
do you
Belief.
surround yourself with all these good people? And
Honestly, like
collaborate?
that's not something. I think that there's a couple of ways to find those things, and I definitely like went to a college where it was like, here's a mixer and change the cards, and it has this like very business formality to it, and I'm not great at that.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
want to carry my cards around.
Okay.
I will be honest. I probably suffered a lot of misconnections because of that, but
You're
I
genuine.
I have to like I have to stay within my what I can do. So for me, it usually that real like cinch moment with somebody happens when we start having creative conversations.
Right.
And like those get me so excited and we're like, oh my God, these are great ideas. And
Yeah.
then
Your brain's stirring up.
100%,
Yeah.
right? So then that to me is like usually when I latch on to somebody, business or otherwise. And then like there's just the period of getting to know each other, right? What do we have in common? Are we just people that are contemporary to each other? Like, are you like Picasso and am I Dali? You know what I'm
okay.
saying? Like, we're not ever gonna collab,
Yeah.
right? But like, it's just like, oh, cool, you're over there,
Appreciated.
you're over there, awesome.
Noted. Yeah.
Sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it's like, oh, we're actually, we're into the same thing. We're
Right.
both into classical, into westerns, into pop, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
so whatever it is, like I think having that creative conversation is something that you shouldn't miss out on. It's something that you shouldn't miss out on because that's really what we're here. Like creativity I think is often a product of like passion.
I agree.
And so you have to be passionate about something. And if you know what you're passionate about, that kind of helps. I think that helps with the whole marketing yourself
direction.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I personally didn't invest in like cards. Because I feel like if we can have a passionate conversation, then the email exchange happens and like very similar to what happened with us. All right, what are you about? Well, okay, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, here's my email. Let's chat, So I think those are the best ways for me. Those are the most organic ways anyway, that make me feel seen, right?
Well, I appreciate that. First of all, thank you. You mentioned that you went to USC.
I did.
So
Got my master's.
with that, you had a lot of passion, sending out like audition tapes, right? And just saying, you know what, universe, we're gonna roll with this because this is what I want, and we're gonna see if you take me back, right?
Yeah. That
How
was
did you do that?
that was
Confidence.
I didn't really and I've told this story before, but I think it bears repeating. There's something about the means, and everybody has different means, and I'm not trying to disparage people that have a lot of means.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That wasn't necessarily my case. My parents didn't pay for my bachelor's, and they were not going to be able to pay for my master's. So that was like the master's was such a faraway dream, because of just the amount of money that it was costing and still costs to get your master's. But I knew that I wanted to make an investment in myself, but I needed something. So I was looking for scholarships, but you kind of have to, once again, you have to get on your journey, man. You have to get on with it. You have to go fill out the paperwork, do the audit, all that nitty gritty stuff. And that happens with everything. Anything that you really, really want is going to have the paperwork, is going to have the essay that you have to do. And it's going to have these questions that are so generic. And you're like, is anyone going to read this? They probably won't read it. But when you get in the room, they'll probably ask you questions about it. And if they do read it, good for them. They're doing their job. That kind of like set me on course. And I had been said no for USC for undergrad.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I didn't. I haven't covered that. That's new. Fresh off the
You're like,
fresh
Jasmine,
off
you
the
can't
press.
research that.
You can't research that. You got to get in my head. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's character. How did you feel? I keep on saying confidence. We're gonna change it up, but like having that character, I guess, but like experience and confidence in yourself to do that. Like you're constantly saying getting yes and opportunities, but throughout success in life, you get a lot of no's.
That really happened with. There was a company, a theater company in Albuquerque called Duke City Theater Rep, still going strong to this day. Shout out to you guys. I love their work. Shakespeare at the Pub, yeah, all sorts of great stuff. But they took an awesome approach to developing talent at that point, and I was just so lucky to be one of the young talents that they developed. And they put me through the ringer of their philosophy and their core mission. And one of the things was that when you mess up on stage or in rehearsal, that is an opportunity to make an adjustment. It's not I messed up. Right? Because I was definitely had that. And I remember the Amelia Ampuero, the artistic director, should be like, you're wasting energy with all that. Like that whole like throwing the fit.
Oh, wow.
Like you're wasting energy. Acknowledge it. That's good. Like if you have that reaction, like, oh, I messed up. That's good. But like you need to move through that conversation a lot faster. Wow. You can't get stuck on like, I messed up. Like you have to be like, I messed up. Oh, what could I have done different? What was that setup like? Did I not get enough ground speed to take off? Right? Like, start immediately, turn it around and make the adjustment. So now when I mess up, it's almost like you wouldn't know that I messed up because I'm already making the adjustments inside. It's a tool that you practice. So that company definitely kind of slapped me on the wrist of that bad habit, you know, because I'd be like, oh, I forgot my line. I'd be like, so look down at the script. Just no, but I don't want to pick it up. But it's there. We're rehearsing.
Right.
You know, use the tools that are in front of you. When you're on stage, you're going to have to use another set of tools to figure out that problem, you know? So, yeah. Wow. Have I forgotten my line? I have forgotten my lines on stage, but you just kind of like, you go through it, you know? You just, maybe you repeat some things. Who knows, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like you're very good and quick to just say, okay, let's keep on moving. When you're working with talent in Los Angeles, is that a habit that you've noticed other people have? Like they're just very quick to bounce back?
Yeah, I mean, there's different actors that come from different backgrounds. Right. I come from more of a theater background. There's people that come from more of an improv background. I think all sorts of artists make their ways in front of the camera. There's some people that have neither and they make their way in front of the camera just because of who they are. And, you know, I respect all walks of life. But in LA, you're not going to find people that work like you. You'll find people that have the same result using different tools.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, there's amazing improv artists, and in Albuquerque too. Albuquerque has a great improvisational scene. The box has like an improv. I think that goes on every week. Shout out to those guys. They have some really good long form and short form improv. If you don't know what that is, look it up.
Yeah. Do your research.
Do your research.
Title of the podcast: Abe and Research.
Do your research.
Resilient.
But yeah, I mean, there's you meet all sorts of masters. I mean, Matt Walker, he was one of my clowning professors. You know, has been on a bunch of movies that you'd recognize, but you'd never seen him unless you met him, right? Okay, yeah. So yeah, he was like an improv artist. He could find a circle and you know, he could like pick this disc up, and then he was driving a car, and then he's like a disco angel, and he gets the phone, and like he's, you know, like he will make something out of nothing, you know? Speaking of this red phone, it's so cool. Like, who are we going to call? Ghostbusters. Anyway. So yeah. Where was I? I got off course.
No, the phone is nice.
I like a red phone. It's so like
it pops.
Yeah, like who what if it rings in the middle of this podcast? I would answer.
That would be awesome.
I would.
People call in UTEP students. Hello.
That's it. This if you find this old landline, if you find some landline in like the bottom of a third basement in UTEP, call it. We are here waiting for you.
Yes.
Just kidding.
The guidance is there and provided. No, we appreciate that. As a creative, how did you start if I can ask? I know we've been talking about it, but was there a mindset shift that carried you through this whole journey? We talked about it a lot, but just certain phrases people said or something that really clicked to you. Like, you know what?
Yeah, I mean, along the journey, there's been different, I think it first started with my good friend, Aaron Hernandez, who now is in Austin. Shout out, Aaron. What's up, man? He was so awesome when I first started acting. He just put books in my hands. Like, you're into acting, you should read this. You want to sing, you should read this book. And I still, like, to this day, I will still call him and be like, hey, can I get your thoughts on this thing? Because, like, there's just those people that you connect with on that level.
Right.
So, yeah, encyclopedia of knowledge for me. And he just kind of put those gifts in my hand that by the time I got to college, I had already read most of the stuff that you had needed to read because of Aaron Hernandez. You're a bad, bad man. Yeah, so, that's one thing, right? That shift in my perspective, like, this is accessible to me. I might be able to do this.
Right.
And then, like I said, Duke City, I already talked about that, kind of like knowing your tools. And I think Duke City was big on not perfection, but like the pursuit of excellence. That's what it was. The pursuit of excellence. It's not about perfection, but like be excellent, And that's another one. That's from Amelia via Hardy. Order your art. Don't wait for the art to happen. Like, you show up and you're ordering that. Just like you're so quick to put an order in for your food, that's how you got to order your art. It needs to show up today. It's not going to be like, don't get caught up in the, I'm not ready to be in this moment yet. No, you got to order it. The food wasn't ready till you ordered it. So order your art. That was a big one. And then Luis Alfaro, prolific writer who I think he did a stint here with Ernie Chavez and the creative writing department at UTEP. Shout out UTEP. Shout out USC. Shout out Luis Alfaro. We're doing everybody today. Everybody's getting covered. But like these grandes, these big. Luis said something to me that was so important. He said, if nobody's leading, lead. If everybody's leading, sit back.
Okay.
Right? And I think I've said that before in some podcasts, but it bears repeating in the hometown podcast.
No, it's important.
So and that's super important. Like if nobody's leading, take the lead, And sometimes you'll find in a group of people, there's somebody who's always taking the lead, and then boom, they get into conflict. And it's because we're not listening and we're not sitting back enough. So I think if you can kind of strike that balance, and sometimes conflict happens, like whatever, you got to work it out. You need conflict to get over conflict, Okay,
yeah.
So like conflict isn't just something that you can avoid, because then conflict avoidance is not, it's not genuinely what you want to do. Right. Sometimes you need to run into the wall, because that's genuinely what you wanted to do is genuinely on the other side of that wall. Yeah. So if no one's leading, lead. If everyone's leading, sit back. Order your art.
No, I love it. Dr. Claudia Boyd at UTEP, always spoke to us students and said, you need to take agency and ownership of your own life. And
Boyd, is she in the communications?
We love
I know everybody at UTEP. I used to work for the dean's office, so.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I love UTEP.
I think she was was she an associate dean for some time?
Oh, that's on me. I don't know.
Okay.
But I know she's incredible. And once I heard her say that throughout all her classes, I just one day took it upon myself. I'm like, I agree. Like, I am going to run with this. And it worked. And I think there are a lot of people in El Paso that just need that extra motivation and push. So like I said, we appreciate you speaking with us, but agency, like when you go through all the transition of life, do you build this feeling of like, okay, I got this? Or do you have nerves, or you know how to cope? Because you're getting to bigger projects, and I'd like to talk about those projects.
I still get nervous. I was super nervous for my premiere in Mexico City.
Oh wow!
I didn't really sleep well, so yeah. I mean, I still get all of that. Okay. I think that's a good sign. If you don't get that, good for you. I'm not gonna like some people say like if you don't get nervous, you it's not in you anymore. I'm like, I don't know about that.
I'll take that.
Yeah. But. It's like, are you going to stay, once again, are you going to stay there in nervousness? Or I'll give you the best example. The first time I auditioned for a big studio project on CBS.
Wow.
It was called, at that point, they changed the name of it. It was about a 9/11 thing. It was like FBI agents and CIA agents. It was, forget what it was called. But I went in for studio testing, and it's kind of like a podcast, except you don't get to talk to anybody. It's just like these big lights on your face, and you have to do the scene, and there's people in the dark there that you don't really like. So it's like set up in this like very like intimidating way. Yeah. And so I remember my first studio test. The whole time while I'm trying to read the lines, my brain was like, you've never, like, it was going through all of these thoughts. And so I was like, anytime I get one of those thoughts, I'm just going to take that energy and throw it right back into these lines. Because if I don't know where I'm going, if the environment is completely unknown, are these thoughts going to help me, or is doing the scene going to help me? Right. All I know is that doing the scene is going to help me, right? So I'm going to stick to this. And there's all sorts of things like, how much money am I gonna make? Is this gonna be my big break? Yeah, dude, all that stuff runs through your head. But is it gonna help you on the day?
No.
Is it gonna help you memorize your lines? And I always say, like, I just learned something from that, which was like, okay, if I'm still nervous, I'm gonna prepare this scene the exact opposite of what it says. If it's a dramatic scene, I'm gonna do it comedic. If it's comedic, I'm gonna do it dramatic. Why? Because I want to be ready for everything. I want to be ready for, like, I used to say this, like nothing shy of a backflip. Like if I go in that room and they ask me to do a backflip, maybe I'll be like, you got to get the next guy. Yeah. But I want to be ready for everything in that sense. And also like twisting scenes like to their antithesis really helps you understand why they were written the way they were written and why they make sense the way they make sense, right? Why is this dramatic? Why can't this character just be laughing through this sad moment? Well, it'll be obvious, right? But it's worth like playing the sad scene like it's funny, you know? Yeah. So yeah, went off like a rocket.
No, I really wanted to hear that though. When you act, because your characters you're acting is like profound, and it transcends like different projects you've been on. How do you put your emotions into the script? I'm a little new to acting.
That's interesting.
How do you do that?
Yeah, do I put my emotions into the script? I don't worry about that. Yeah, I don't think that's a tool that's accessible to me. Emotions are a product of living your life. Right. So, and I think this will speak to a broader point of the podcast about like, what do you do? It's not that you shouldn't have emotions or that you shouldn't be right. Because like if I'm playing a character with negative thoughts, then what am I going to be all zen? Like, sorry, I don't entertain negative thoughts. Like I can't play this character. Yes. No, like it's on me now. Now I gotta go willfully, creatively, and with the nerve to be there in an imaginary state. So, but to be there, does that mean that I am putting my emotions into it? And I think that like, it's okay if your emotions are there, but why are they there? Are they there because you brought them in? Well, no, your emotions came in with you being a human and walking into the room. Yeah. So I go with a hands-off approach. Some people are more hands-on about bringing their emotion, and I call it inside out or this is USC training for you. Inside out or outside in. Which one are you doing? Is it happening organically from the inside and expressing itself outside, or are you doing it from the outside with the hopes of maybe stirring something inside? I think both are valid. There's many gurus who say one thing or the other. I really don't care. I think that whatever gets you there. But for me, my approach tends to be to take in the things that are happening right now and see how they're affecting me, and then wait for the director to be like, we need more or we need less. And the nerve that I have is to believe that I need to get something from this character, and my character wants to accomplish something, right? So that's like your motivation. Right. And if you can figure out your character's motivation, and you can allow yourself to be uninhibited with your emotions, almost like a child is, right? Like a child will be playing with their toy and the toy falls and they'll throw a tantrum about the toy falling. Right. Who? Like physics is gonna come and be like, sorry, like, no. So like in some ways you need to let go of all of this posturing that we get taught when we're adults. Right. Because like the truth is, all of us, when we're after something that we want, we will act like children sometimes, right? And that also creates the hero, and I think it also creates the villain, is people acting on their greatest impulses. It's a two-way street. You don't have control over it, you know? The villain doesn't think that he's acting in a wrong way. The good guy doesn't know that he's acting superheroic unless it's like a superhero thing. That's why I think like drama, not melodrama, like the superhero putting on the cape, it's like, oh, we got you. Yeah.
We can see it.
The person who's overcoming, that's always like a more touching story to me, personally.
Okay.
Wow, we went off again. Talking a
No,
lot.
I'm asking so many questions. I'm just so nosy, you know, so I appreciate it.
Me too. I got a big nose.
Yeah, same. No, that's incredible. Wow. You've done so many things. You've traveled, you've been educated from all over. USC, is there any other acting tips or just creative tips you think El Paso would appreciate?
Well, I think I want to say this about El Paso. I don't remember a time where there were this many creatives here. It's felt better in some way. But I still feel the same hesitancy, and maybe I'm seeing something within myself. So this is not me trying to rag on anybody or anything, but I felt the same hesitancy. So it's like, so I'm creative, but I'm in El Paso. So what does that mean?
Yes, I feel that all the time.
Right? What does it mean? Like, what do I do about it?
Where do I
And
go?
if I do something about it, what's going to be the outcome of it? So
Right.
should I just get back to flipping burgers or,
Right.
you know, busting down concrete? Like, what is it? And I think the most important thing is to not lose your sense of passion. And at least if we're in El Paso right now, there is such a thing as producing a product, right? You see all of these, we're producing a product right now, Sun City SITREP podcast, you know what I'm saying? This is a product. But if you don't have all of these amazing avenues that I'm so fortunate are available to me right now, what was I doing? Dude, I was creating, experimenting, tinkering. I have over 16 short films that I did that probably will never see the light of day, you know, because maybe. You have to ask me for the password.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
kidding. So yeah, I mean, what do you do about it? Well, you don't, you just do. And then hopefully, because I think we're in that really awesome space here in El Paso where there's a new generation that's coming up.
Yes.
And I have not been here to lay any of the groundwork. I have been out on my journey. So it's really cool to see the people that are laying the groundwork. I have a lot of respect. Now, have I seen things? Have I been to places where this happened a lot faster and there's generations of people doing this?
Wow.
Yeah, of course I have. So do I come and do I have my opinions, my thoughts? Yeah, but I try not to impose. I'm trying to let things be organic. But when I'm coming into something, when I'm participating in something, I'm going to put my 10 cents in because that's me. I have to leave my mark too, right?
100%.
And so I feel, like I said, there's just a hesitancy and maybe
a lot of
that
fear.
addresses this confidence thing that you're trying to get at. Like, where do I get the confidence?
Yep.
It's not. It's like when you've done it enough times, the confidence question goes out the door because you're in the plain action of it.
Wow.
And I feel like some people, no, I don't feel, I think I know that there is not enough money in El Paso to make a living being an artist.
Wow.
That's the truth, right? If we can accept that, then we're okay. Like, then we can move on to the next thing, which is get on with it anyway.
Right.
Get on with it anyway and create because it's a passion. It's a passion. So don't wait. And I feel like this generation that's coming up, you guys are not waiting. You're
No.
doing it.
Or-
But
yeah.
there's this idea that you guys are stuck on because of what El Paso has, right? Which is, will I be able to make a living out of it here?
Yes.
And I don't know the answer to that. All I can say is I'm with you and I hope one day we all can.
Right.
That's it. Don't stop. There is no confidence. You're doing it, you are the person. If you're doing it, there is no question. You are that person. You're doing it. You're doing it, right?
Wow.
You reached out. So what did you have just some mass confidence that somebody? No, you literally just asked, right? So I think it's important to be in the doing of it. Sometimes we can get too tinkery with our
Right.
thoughts about executing the perfect thing, and it's never going to go the way you want it, ever. But whatever happens, because you are making a product or because you are experimenting creatively, whatever happens, that's on you.
Right.
And then you all of a sudden have to put on the onus of, wait, I am a creative. I am a responsible person. I am confident in what I'm doing. I have shot in this alley in El Paso 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I have shot in this studio 4 times, 5 times, 6 times.
It's the action of just doing it.
It's the
I love
action of
that.
doing it, repetition, you know?
That's something I've noticed with my team and I that I work heavily with, Arlette and B-Mart. B-Mart, my videographer, I work a lot with. Every week you'll see him just adding new and new equipment. And, you know, it gets expensive, right?
Yeah.
It's what you're saying. It's like, are we getting the biggest gig that's going to financially help us all out? Probably not right now. We're young and we're also trying. But
you
it's
never know.
passion. And it's the networking and meeting people. It's exactly what you said. El Paso needs to, you know,
Just stand behind,
be
you know?
strong, you know?
The best thing I learned about LA when I first moved out there, people asked me where I lived, and I was super intimidated because I just like didn't want them to judge my 900 square foot apartment in Koreatown, you know?
Love that,
so I was just like, what do I say?
Yeah.
And then like somebody told me, he's like, dude, stand behind where you live. Stand behind it because they're not asking you that question to judge you. That's
Okay.
like something that I had put on it. They're asking that question to see if like maybe we could drive and be friends. Because like if they
Wow.
live 45 minutes, I'm not driving to see you,
Yeah.
right? So like stand behind where you're from, even if it's not known for making money or whatever. If you're around too many people that are naysaying what you're doing, then they're probably not doing what you're doing. So you don't need to entertain that. Like it's you don't need confirmation of no. You need confirmation of is it possible, right? So like the naysayers, they're saying that because they're not doing it,
Wow.
and that's okay. They just chose a different path. And all I can say to the naysayers, because I definitely encountered a lot of you guys on my way up, is I can exist. I can exist and by following my own path, and you can exist too. You and me don't have business together if you don't know what I'm creating. So that's it.
That was incredible. Mic drop.
I can't drop this. It's too
Podcast
expensive.
mic? Ugh. Wow. Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else? I don't know, man. I just want to I want to shout out some cool new things that I've noticed. Like, so what have I noticed? There's this new young generation. There's vocalists now. There's content creators.
Yes.
Digital
media.
Digital media, right?
Yes.
That seems to be like an avenue that nobody saw coming, right? All of a sudden, eyeballs are there. Not just the narrative content, which is kind of where I love to create.
Right.
So yeah, even though this is not my medium per se, I'm familiar with it, right? So I love all of this, like I said, content creators from El Paso. And I mean, shout out to the greats. Shout out to Khalid. Shout out to myself.
Christian churches, there's so many like huge people in media. And what's cool about social media is people are quick to, if they can't speak with you in person, they'll give you some advice through the DM. It's very quick. It's like the passing the business card, but almost in a genuine way, because it's like, hey, I create, you create, hello.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just so cool, and I'm so happy for this new generation. I am happy that this worked out. I mean, I would not have known that by saying yes, that we would have ended up here. Right. Wow. So like, it's still that beginner mindset. I could have been like, Jasmine, who? Right. But I didn't. I gave it a shot because I believe in where we're from. I believe in the young upcoming talent. I think Paulina Chavez, who's on Landman. Yeah. My wife just worked with her. So like, I believe in all of you guys. You guys are inspiring me, and who knows who will be next? Like we'll all have to bring it. You know, what is it? Rising tide. I don't know. Ships rise. Tides. Ships rise. We all go up.
Look it up. Research. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Well, I appreciate that. I know the people listening are inspired and they appreciate what you say because, like I've said before, you are you're pursuing a life that most people see and they want to do that and they're inspired by it. And it's just incredible to see El Paso talent rise and just prove to us that it's possible.
What do you think is it about El Paso? Like, because you can look at a bunch of you can look at a bunch of places, but for some reason there's this little place called El Paso, and we've managed to so far crank it out, right?
Yes, we have.
At least in terms of like influencing the overall pop culture, which I think like there's art of all kinds. There's like pop art. There's, you know, still people that are playing classical music. I would love to see that. Like, who are the what really is the depth of this thing, you know? Because like it's so easy to pop and to say I'm from El Paso when I've had the big christening moment, when I've gotten on the show, but like what is like the true depths of that question? I would love to know that, and why. That's the real mystery. Like, what is it about El Paso? What is it about the pressure that it puts you under? What is it about maybe even like in the desert, we're always lacking. We're always lacking water. All the plants have knives. They're going to stab you. You know what I mean? So there's something hard about growing up here that like makes you ready for that other thing. I mean, that's what I think. That's the great mystery that I'm asking myself. Like, hey, it's kind of cool that a bunch of people that grew up where I grew up, we're all kind of popping in similar conversations along this cultural pop thing. So I don't know. Maybe that's the investigative journalism that you should go down. I don't know. I'm just messing around.
No, I need to do some research. I think El Paso, at least for me, I came from Michigan, and when we moved here, I noticed the support in the community here. Yeah. Of course, we're all human. There's a lot of naysayers, of course.
Sure.
But you really reach out, like you said, you ask the questions. You say, hey, can I collab with you? Most people are willing to do so, but you have to put yourself out there. And I think El Paso, what's cool about this city is it's getting bigger and bigger, but the creative scene is rising.
Yeah.
So we all want to be a part of it and help each other out because it's new for all of us.
Yeah.
We're all impressed. We're like, what is he doing? What is she doing? So I see the support, but I think it's because we're all trying to do it.
We're all trying to do it. And then also here's like something else, which is El Paso is such a unique place, right? Yeah. We are a city that has been in and around this beautiful river community from Socorro to San Elizario, all the way up to the Mesilla Valley, right? So I consider it like one big river community, and that's probably the OGs of the game, the people have been holding it down. And then you have the further construction of Fort Bliss, so all of a sudden we have this influx of what most people would be like outsiders, but somehow El Pasoans, I find that they're super hospitable and they're super nice, like at their core. Right? So it doesn't matter if you're from Michigan, you're in El Paso, we're in El Paso, you're El Pasoan, right?
That's how I feel.
And I don't find too much of that, like, and you'll see this somewhere else. I'm not ragging on it, like claim where you're from, but there's some people who's like, my family's been here for 20 generations. And like in El Paso, it's like, cool, man, you're from El Paso, you're kind of on an even footing. And I think it's that spice, that diversity that makes El Paso so unique. And pero también el hispanohablante, like how much Spanish is spoken here. We have 53 million bilingual speakers in the United States. And less than 1 million are in El Paso, right? But for some reason, I think that this is it. I think if there's anything about El Paso that Hollywood or any big advertising media company can learn from is how we serve both sectors effortlessly, because for some reason I've never, well, maybe I have, but and maybe like, you know, us colored brown skinned people are the wrong people to be talking about this. But I think I would love to hear from those like Anglo El Pasoans, like, do they feel ostracized or do they feel brought into the community? And then you also meet those like, I guess, more white folks who can speak Spanish.
Yes.
Right? And so like that's really cool. Once again, the diversity, the spice of life here in the frontera is really nice. And I think the effortless way that we serve populations, I think that's something that advertisers would love. Like they're kind of like, what's the key? How do I unlock this? And I think the key is us.
Whoa. Second mic drop.
We can't drop these mics. They're too expensive.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
So much.
We'll be taking calls from the red phone. Call us.
Thank you.
Tucking on
The
your
horn?
Yeah.
The klaxon?
Yeah.
What is it?